So why, just 3 days after celebrating the birth of Jesus, would the church celebrate this historical event of the massacre of the innocents, boys 2 years and younger? Well, let's look at our first reading. It's a good choice that the church chose for this feast. Coming from St. John, his first letter. He says, "If we say we are without sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us." So here we are, baptized into the life, the light, the family of God. God dwelling within us, and yet we still choose to sin. That's just a reality. It doesn't have to be. We can choose not to sin. But anytime we do choose to sin, how important it is to face that reality and to give it over to God in confession. And we have nothing to worry about but going to confession because, again, John tells us, "I am writing you this so that you may not commit sin. But if anyone does sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ, the righteous one. He will advocate for us in the sacrament of reconciliation. He will forgive us our sins." It says he is expiation for our sins. And not for our sins, but for those of the whole world. Our God is big enough. So our church is big enough to admit the sins of others, to acknowledge the difficulties of life, celebrates in our high moments, and is with us in those low moments. As today, we celebrate this low moment, the massacre of all those boys 2 years and younger at the time, right around the time of Jesus' birth, or at least even up to 2 years after. Because that's Magi maybe visited when he was 2 years old. And so we don't ignore, we don't look over the difficulties and the ugliness that has happened in our world. Instead, since God doesn't ignore the ugliness in the world, God entered into the ugliness of the world, into the darkness, to shine his light. And so the church now enters into this darkness, and instead of forgetting about the holy innocents who are massacred, lifts them up and says, this is what life is like without God. But God has entered into this so that instead of trying to become a power-hungry mongrel, trying to keep control of one's own power, and hence he would try to destroy anything that might take over his power, which didn't work, by the way. He was assassinated. To give God full control, to trust him, and to say, Lord, I admit that I am weak. I admit that I sin. I admit that I need you in my life, every moment, every part of my life. I invite you in, Lord, to be that light, to be that guiding star for all the decisions that I make, that I do these things for love of you, who chose to love me so much to even die for me.